welcome to tonight's stream of Hearthstone DGL. This is the Amber League, and we're watching a game between AahSnap and Tjoeftjaf. This is the finals as well, round 4 of the Amber League Do or Die Cup. We're already well into this first game of the best out of 5, and unfortunately I've forgotten to press the start button on the stream. So let's. I'm also joined here by Pandemonia as co-caster for me for us tonight, and I'll let him explain what happened so far.
So this has been a Dragon Priest against Freeze Mage. This is the second Doomsayer, and so far Tjoeftjaf hasn't gotten a lot of card draw. He did use a Blood Mage and a Fireball earlier on a Twilight Drake, and now we see that AahSnap's hand is full of lots of cards that cost 1 and 0.
Yes.
He's got a Potion of Madness. He's picked up the Pain, so he can actually just simply get rid of this Doomsayer exceptionally cleanly. He might have possibly wanted to play Priest of the Feast to get the health. Like now he's going to play the Priest of the Feast after.
Yeah.
So I think that might have been a sort of he might have played that a bit too quickly. So now he decides to heal the operative, and the only real reason I can see him doing that is to try and dodge the flame strike.
Yes, correct.
Because healing the rain flare elemental also seemed tempting, because now it just dies to hero power.
That's true.
Obviously, it's only 2 power. But yes, definitely the fact that he dropped the Priest of the Feast afterwards indicates that it was a bit of a he saw your Shadow Word Pain, and he used it a bit before figuring out, what he's going to do for the rest of the turn. So, just a small tip to a lot of the newer players there. When you're playing your turn, even if there's a card you definitely want to be playing your turn, think carefully. How much mana do you have? What are you going to be doing for the rest of your turn? And then, consider which order should you play things in. So, like now we see he missed out the heal. So, in this particular case, it may or may not actually matter, but it's 3 health. And 3 health is 3 health.
Especially against a freeze mage that wants to get the opponent as low as possible, so that you can just deal out that spell damage to get the win. And you'll see that with a Pyroblast being drawn now, that 10 damage will definitely help to get that done. Knowing the threat, Tjoeftjaf, knowing the threat of the Priest of the Feast, definitely wants to get that off the board as quickly as possible. One thing we were discussing just before we went live again, with those 2 primordial glyphs, and at that point they were 1 cost because of the Radiant Elemental. Even if Tjoeftjaf plays something like an Alexstrasza to get AahSnap down, it's interesting that he decided to play the primordial glyph now without. Oh, that's great! That is brilliant. Oh my word! Look at that.
Ironically, this Devil Sword is actually one of the best cards to get because its battle cry doesn't happen, right?
Correct.
So you've basically discovered a 7/7 charger, which is quite strong.
That is ridiculously strong.
We just see it go straight into the face, and now we can see the pressure. AahSnap just putting the pressure on Tjoeftjaf. Tjoeftjaf, I feel he's kind of squandered some of his I think also he seems to be a bit lost in terms of how he's winning this game, because we saw him with a bit of the burn earlier, then we saw him just start using that burn a bit too liberally, and the thing is, he used that burn when he didn't really have that much card draw. You can kind of understand using burn when you have excess in your hand, but now we see in his hand he's got a total of 13 damage in hand, and he's 12 cards left. He doesn't have card draw. He's staring down two 5 attack minions and 7. I mean, he's going to Blizzard now.
Yeah, clearing 1 Blackened operative at least.
And I mean, as a freeze mage, he's going to frostbolt it as well.
If he burns that as well, I mean, he's dealing with what's on the board, but he's running out of options to finish this game, especially with a class like Priest, which he will know might have multiple ways to heal himself up in the form of Priest of the Feast and just hero power. you have to start thinking how are you going to finish this game? I mean, like you said, he doesn't have that much in hand. No card draw either. I don't think he's played any Arcane Intellect so far. I don't know
No,
if
he
you
hasn't
remember.
yet. It's
So
been a bit unfortunate on his side.
he still has that though. If he does draw it now,
Yeah.
albeit quite a bite into his turn mana. But
But the problem also is
yeah,
this is one of those cases of he's playing to not lose, but he's not playing to win.
correct.
And a lot of times, a lot of times, players. I mean, a lot of players, myself, a lot of pro players, they make this mistake sometimes. Is you get too passive, where you get and you kind of then have to constantly say, okay, how am I winning this game?
Mm,
And currently, Tjoeftjaf has. I don't know if he's been asking himself this because all of his plays have basically been, how do I make sure I don't die, soon?
yeah.
And he's been doing that, which is all good and well until you realize, oh wait, how does my deck win, and how am I
Mm.
winning?
Yeah, well,
I mean,
that's
now,
true. I mean, even in the start of the game, when he started using his burn in the form of the Blood Mage Stalnos and Fireball to clear Twilight Drake, he didn't have to do that. He did have another play to make, but he decided to do that just to get board control where he wasn't in a threatened situation. So that's coming back now to haunt him. Um, like
just
we
running
said,
out of burn.
yeah, running out of burn, no real win condition at this point. The Archmage Antonidas into Frost, Shadow of Death will
Yeah.
take care of the Antonidas. Very lucky for AahSnap.
Not really. He has a Shadow of Death in hand, but what
Oh,
I
true,
like
yeah.
about this is he's not even going to do that. But the fact I don't know about like there sort of there was two options there. He could have tried to take the Shadow of Death and death the Archmage Antonidas, and the only reason you would really take that is from the psychological point of view in
Mm.
terms of trying to tilt your opponents.
Yeah,
Because
because
as
you
soon
you
as
know there's still a Shadow of Death in deck, and I mean that deals with your Alexstrasza if that's played. So
and granted, what I'm saying is, he could have tried to hide the fact that he has death in hand.
yeah,
And
true.
basically, by playing one that he discovered, it could kind of put Tjoeftjaf on tilt, going, of course, of course he's going to discover that, whereas he didn't have to. So obviously,
Mm.
like the forbidden shaping, really powerful. I mean, if you use it, 8 I think is the preferred sort of amount. The problem with 10 is you can get really like not average 10 drops.
Yeah, there
You
are a
can
lot
get
of 10 drops
like
with
not
very
wrong,
yeah, like cards like
big
your
stats.
big, not
Yeah,
not nice stats, but a very good battle cry. Yogg is
exactly,
like that. Enzoth is the same. Um,
exactly.
so generally the 10 cost cards are. I mean, you can always get a Deathwing, which is great, but that is
It's a lot more consistent. And oh, we see Cruel, so we see
that's great for
eight
him.
eight. And I mean, now Tjoeftjaf, he's used someone. He's gonna
He's
pyroblast this,
looking to
and
Pyroblast, and then he really doesn't have a way to win this.
once again, you know, he's not dying yet, but how does he win?
Yeah.
What is his? I mean, if we look, he's got 9 cards left. So if we have a look at what he's played, I don't think he's played any Arcane Intellect. So he's got 2 Arcane Intellects.
So he can still draw,
He's
get
still,
that draw.
he's still got Alexstrasza. I mean, the only way he must be thinking, if somehow he draws Alexstrasza, his opponent doesn't have removal for it,
Mm.
and Alexstrasza can hit face like once or twice. This is kind of this is scenario where Tjoeftjaf is in is, how does he win this game? And
Yeah.
it's slowly slipping away. He's used a lot of removal. He's used both frostbolts. I think he's used one of his fireballs. He's used.
Yeah.
Oh, his blood mage is gone, so he doesn't even have that at his disposal.
And
Yeah,
now,
just in a really bad spot here.
yeah, now we can see finally he is realizing that if he doesn't do something about it now, he won't be able to win this game. But is it too little, too late? Still that Pyroblast in hand, which will be a 10 damage to the face. But the question is, does he have anything left? Like you said, I think he has a Fireball left in his deck, and 2 Arcane Intellects, so he could draw his entire deck out soon. But he is starting to burn. I think another Ice Block in the deck, obviously, as well, still.
And the thing is, as soon as Tjoeftjaf because with the moving of Icelands to wild, the most that a freeze mage can do now in a turn is 15.
Okay.
So like you're 19, you're not scared of dying this turn, right? But as soon as your opponent pyroblast you, you go, okay, I could randomly die, and that's when and then now we see AahSnap's hand. He just goes Priest of the Feast, plays a bunch of spells.
Yeah. I mean, he still has the
And
Shadow
he goes-
Visions, he has the Potion of Madness, which he can actually take over the Medivh's Valet with. And the
Exactly.
coin still even. So he still has a coin, which is a guaranteed 3 health from that Priest of the
And he
Feast.
has Shadow Visions, which
Yeah.
can get him something cheap like a power word shield. So
True.
so as soon as Tjoeftjaf goes Pyroblast face, hoping to top deck, a little bit more burn,
Mm.
AahSnap just goes, okay, cool, I'm just going to Piece of the Feast, heal.
And then that's pretty much the
Game
end.
is-
At this point, I
This
really
is a-
don't think there's any way for Tjoeftjaf to still win this, and I think he's starting to realize that. He is considering playing that Fire Blast. The question is, will it be into the Gruul or will it be to face? He kind of needs to do it to face, since he doesn't have much damage. But the Gruul, getting the Gruul will give him another turn, and he will decide to go face. Does take AahSnap down to 9, but with all those cheap cards in hand, he will probably just, with that 10 mana,
Wait, the
now heal himself up.
one,
He does trigger
yeah,
the Ice Block, and we will actually see him heal himself up. So that's the Priest of the Feast going down, and a bunch of heal. So even
it's going to be powered. We see a powered shield.
yeah, even that,
You know.
just keep drawing up.
I would have liked to actually see the priest, the Shadow Visions first to discover the powered shield.
Hmm.
But I mean, because he opts to just go for a little more conservative heal instead of, he could have gained a lot more life here.
Yeah, that's
But I
true.
think
But
he's
yeah, even
he's
with that
happy that-
taunt, yeah,
17 is enough. I
even
think,
with the
he's
taunt
very-
on field, there's that Medieval A can't help him, and he knows that there's no other way to real deal with it.
down to 11, but he has got no cards in hand. So, and then we see Lyra. We see the Lyra, which is,
Mm.
oh, it's a golden Lyra as well. So it's a really, really, really pretty card as well as
Very pretty.
allowing you the really crazy shenanigans. I mean, we might even see him play Lyra comboed with the Piece of the Feast. We just even see him heal up. He knows that on 13, there's absolutely no way that he dies.
Primordial Glyph.
Primordial
That is a saving grace, perhaps, but I don't think that will do much. What does he have here?
Old. I mean, even if he did find the total freeze, like Blizzard,
Mm,
he would still use to power Potion of Madness that
Yeah.
steals one of his guys and kills.
yeah, true. So
It's just-
that will then be the end of this game. There's no way to get around that.
It's going to be game 1, which goes to AahSnap, which got a top heavy hand. Oh, there's a turn 1 Alley Cat, which is a pretty strong pickup.
Definitely
And
needed that.
we see Tjoeftjaf playing the mid-range Murloc Paladin. It's got sort of the early mid-range cards of cards like Hydrologist, Rockpool Hunter, and Murloc War Leaders. But it's still got some of the mid to rate. It scales quite well to the mid-game with cards like Stonehill Defender. Like we saw he mulliganed away the Ragnaros of the Light Lord.
Hmm.
So yeah, we see interestingly, he coined immediately, but now he's pausing. And I'm not quite sure what he's pausing. I mean, he can play the Hydrologist. It gets eaten by the two Alley Cats. I don't know if he's considering maybe playing the Rockpool Hunter just because it's a 2-mana 2/3. This is sort of a interesting spot here.
Interesting to
'Cause
see
immediately,
what he
you know,
decides. Yeah, like you
Coin-
said. Sorry.
Coin Hydrologist, seems but it just dies to there's two bodies on board.
Mm. And you don't really care much for the secret. The secret helps, but you want Murlocs in the field, and especially Murlocs to buff. And even if whatever secret he pulls, he can't play this turn either. So that Hydrologist definitely does die. One thing I wanted to say, there's in the mid-range Murloc decks, there's generally a more aggro heavy one, and one that's more kind of more late game. Mid-range to late game, and the telltale of the mid-range one would be the Spike Ridge Steed, where the more
Not actually. The aggressive versions run Sparkly Steed.
is it?
So the telltale sign is the Ragnaros Light Lord from the
course.
opening hand,
Mulligan that.
and the Stonehill Defender. And yeah, we see quite important. And so now, if Tjoeftjaf is paying attention, when a hunter is hero power on turn 2 in the current decks, their hand is quite not just
Very
weak,
heavy.
but it's very heavy or situational cards. So that on turn 2, definitely he didn't have a Scavenging Hyena. He definitely didn't have a Crackling Razor Maul. Now we see the Eagle Horn Bow picked off the top is actually a really nice pickup. It allows him just to get back the board, as well as just have the charge up. And
so far, AahSnap has been playing off of his draws, hoping to draw something to play each turn, and it has been working out for him quite well, which will allow him to get some value out of what that heavy hand that he does have, as that will get him something to play later in the game as he starts to accumulate more mana. On Tjoeftjaf's side, the Stonehill Defender will go down, and we see one of the legendary Paladin cards. Stonehill Defender obviously being one of the strongest cards or the most value in a Paladin deck out of all the decks that it is played in, because of those very strong legendary Paladin class cards that you get, such as Turian Forging.
Turian Forging, Sunkeeper Tarim, and even Wicker Flame, Burn Bristle, Wicker Flame. Stonehill Defender, actually quite amusingly, it was, I think, heavily underrated by many people. Especially, because literally in terms of stats line, it's a Silverback Patriarch.
Yeah, true.
From vanilla, it's a Silverback Patriarch. It's nothing, but people didn't realize that the Discover a Taunt minion would actually be really powerful, and especially in decks like mid-range Paladin, where you have such powerful taunts to discover. Tyrion,
especially since the Discover gets you either a card out of the neutral set or out of your own class, and it's not just broad-based. And you will play the other Stonehill Defender as well, probably secreting.
So now we see also the other Paladin legendary. It's a really good card against many decks. It acts both as a buff and as sort of a answer, in the sense that it can buff your 1/1s and your other small minions, as well as making your opponent's big cards. So its main things against decks like Jade Druid, it's really powerful.
Yeah.
Even against decks like Quest Rogue, turning those 5/5s into 3/3s can buy you the critical amount of extra turns.
Can you confirm that they do become 3/3s?
Yes, I do.
You've seen it?
They do become.
Okay.
Yeah, I've played many times. That's how I, don't die to Quest Rogues.
I see. Yes. Out of decks to play Sunkeeper Turium against, maybe this kind of Hunter might not be the best idea, since it does run a lot of cheap minions, and the only big minions you really see in the deck is Savannah Highmane, and
we see
Weasel.
Not a card you see often.
I love that card.
Death Rattle, shuffle this minion to your opponent's deck. So it's one of those cards that's been featured in sort of amusing videos.
Yeah.
But it's never seen, and we see him just play it.
See him dropping it now. I love that card though. It's one of my favorite cards in the deck.
And here's a bit of a missequencing from AahSnap in terms of, I feel that from the poke into the Stonehill Defender into the 1/1, the grandmother, it should have almost been a direct tell that the secret was double sacrifice.
Yeah, I mean, if
you don't want to give the 1/1 trade into the 2/1.
Yeah, there's no other reason you would want to, trade into that 1/1.
He should have attacked the weapon first, and then his guy would have still lived. So a bit of a sequencing area there. Not too serious. I mean, the thing is, this Hunter, by now Tjoeftjaf should know that at least one of those 3 cards on the left of AahSnap's hand, one of them is a Highmane, and 1 or 2 of them are situational cards. So we have like the casters always say, it's caster vision. We have perfect vision, so we know exactly there's a deadly shot and unleash.
But
Tjoeftjaf doesn't have.
Even as a player, there is a way to tell or to accurately guess, I would say, what your opponent has in hand, especially if you know what decks are in the meta at the moment. You can kind of.
Deadly shot is a card that kind of goes in and out of various Hunter decks.
That's true.
So it's difficult to kind of guess if that's in the hand. A card like Unleash, it's possible to put it, but the only hard read I would say is
Savannah.
You're quite confident that next turn, Harman is coming down.
Yes,
Your
yeah,
opponent had a really slow start.
Mm.
Now it's a case of does he? I mean, Consecration doesn't feel exactly very impressive here. He could have war leaded. We see him just trade, the 1/3, Bona. We see
Having-
one of the tech card you're talking about,
Mm,
the
ha-
Lucky Crawler.
Yeah, well, having two from Tjoeftjaf's side, having two cards like the Sunkeeper Tarim, if he did expect the Savannah Highmane getting it on field, and another one, but getting Savannah Highmane dropped on turn 6, if he was aware of what his opponent has, just playing another Murloc, something cheap, and then he can return with Sunkeeper Tarim, is also a very, very nice play that he can make indeed.
Yeah, that's quite a relatively clean player. He can trade one of his 1/3s into the Weasel.
Mm-hmm.
Then he can Sunkeep Tarim, trade one of his 3/3s into the Harman to kill it,
And then
and he can kill one of the hyenas and have one of
Two
his guys
3/3s,
be a 3/1. 2 3/3s and a 3/1 because the other guy will also be a 3/3.
oh yeah, true.
So I'm curious if he sees here. He could also be considering, Spike Reached Steed. I don't think it really allows him to cleanly kill the Harming. I mean, Sunkeeper Tarim is by far the cleanest.
He seems he's looking at that Warlock, the Murloc War Leader.
It just feels really efficient. I mean, because what are you also doing? You're hero powering.
Yeah, well, it develops a better board, and he still has that taunt to deal. Okay, he actually does decide to go into Highmane. I don't.
Quite.
Yeah.
I mean, now you're left with a 1/2, a 3/2, and a 2/3/2. Your opponent's got 2/2/2s, and I mean, Sunkeeper was more on curve.
Especially if you have two, so I mean, that's
Exactly.
and it provides you with another taunt on board. So that might have been a better play. The nice thing about playing War Leader first, or just War Leader in general, if Sunkeeper Tarim gets played, that Silverhand Murloc will become a 5/3 or 5/4. 6/4, yeah, 5/4. Yeah.
The Unleash comes out, allows Tjoeftjaf to actually get, AahSnap to actually get some quite good trades here. You can trade the Unleash, you can kill the Murloc, his guy lives, and so I feel like that could have been quite a big factor in terms of this game. I mean, now he's got two Sunkeeper Tarims, and now the problem is, the problem is because his opponent's board is full of 2/2s and 2 attack minions, you don't really want to play Sunkeeper Tarim and help buff them.
Yeah, but he still has that Consecration in his hand, which is maybe why he decided to get that Savannah Highmane off the field, so he can deal with that by using the Consecration.
Could have also got with the Sunkeeper. So
That's true.
I'm not quite. Yeah, the thing is, now he's kind of fighting from behind. His hand is full of, it's got Primordial Drake, Tyrion, Sunkeeper, Rag. And, this initiative now is slowly swinging in AahSnap's favor. Even though he's got low resources, he's got the deadly shot. So when the Tyrion comes down or the Rag comes down on next turn, that deadly shot is going to be quite big.
I think he'll rather, because he just cleared and there's still 2 minions on the board, he might decide to play Primordial Drake next turn as well, in order to better trade there. If AahSnap does not trade into his Murloc right now, it will be the best possible play for, but he will do that. So the value of the Primordial Drake would have gone up by considerable amount.
Especially now in the pattern decks, you always want to try to keep the 1/1s off board, especially because Sunkeeper Tarim is a card, and because Spike Steed is a card. And obviously, the more you can just deny them having minions in play, you can just force them now. I mean, he can hero power and play, Spike Steed. It's not the most effective, but not like Tjoeftjaf was in such a good position, such a dominant position, and we see just how slowly the game can kind of start slipping.
That is true. Although he's not in the deep water yet. He's still in a very good position looking at what he has in hand. That Ragnaros Light Lord will enable him to heal up a bit. He does have 2 taunts in the way of Sunkeeper Tarim. The Primordial Drake, which he seems to want to drop now, will take at least 1 minion off the board. So he does have answers, but definitely not in as good position as he was a few turns ago. could have gone quite differently.
The Kraken Razor Maul is quite good. I mean, if he picks up the Poisonous, this is actually great for him because it allows him to save that deadly shot for the Rag, for the Turian. So Tjoeftjaf is fortunate in the fact that he has both Rag and Turian. So he'll play one, it will get deadly shotted, then he'll be able to play the other. But now he's kind of got to decide. He should maybe work out that maybe there's a deadly shot. So which one do I want to die?
Yeah.
Do I want Tyrion to die now and get the charge of the weapon, or does he want the Rag to heal him up for 8 and then to die?
But like you said, the deadly shot not being a consistent card in the hunted deck. I also want to add here that both of these players are playing off of their tablets. So if they do look like they're missing a play, it could be attributed to not being used to playing on a tablet, because I'm pretty sure they usually play on their PCs.
But a lot of the plays you would still, even if on tablet, you could still make. The only time where you can really say tablet is when it's like fast movements, back with Patron Warrior, or with Miracle Rogue, where fast, where you need to do a lot of actions in your turn. Where it's like these have all been deliberate. There haven't been anything where you can honestly say they played. They just played. They misclicked. I don't think there's any real real course.
That's true.
We see the deadly shot. I mean, Tjoeftjaf seems a bit surprised, and so now we see Tjoeftjaf goes down to 6, and so Rag Lightlord is very, in all likelihood, going to come down. But the problem with Rag Lightlord is it puts him up to 14, and if we look in AahSnap's board, he already has 12 on board plus the hero power. So basically, he's dead.
Yeah.
In terms of, he would have survived if he played Drag the previous turn, and then that got deadly shotted.
Yeah.
And now he could play Tyrion to maybe try to stay alive. That was
that was probably the better sequence of how to play all of it.
Him not anticipating the deadly shot, possibly a bit of a blowout.
He could still play Euro Power into Spike Ridge Steed, or Equality, Euro Power, and then Spike Ridge Steed. I think would be a much better play. But then he's playing around Deadly Shot. Then he's playing around Deadly Shot, because Deadly Shot Euro Power will kill him then as well. But I think
on Deadly Shot, so you're not really expecting the second.
Okay, he does. Equality first.
Equality first would have been obviously really good.
Yeah.
This is just he doesn't have a clean way of going through this, but AahSnap can, just hero power. Hero power, is quite strong here. I'm not sure. He might just want to kill the Murloc to avoid getting potentially good trades. He might even want to, trade the 3-2 and the 4-3 into it, and then bump the 2-1 down, so that things like Unleash can punch through the following turn. But as just to go back to what I was saying earlier, is we see those 2 Sunkeep of Turims.
Yeah,
just rotting in his...
It's pretty much dead cards at this point.
Yeah.
It would. It's not the worst thing you can do, since it does drop 3 damage off of the board.
It's still, I mean, it's probably not. It's not now. It's he might not even actually. This is, a very tight spot here. I think Rag Lightlord
and Equality
Yeah.
and Rag enables him to clear the board and heal himself up.
And he'll go up to 10, which actually might be just enough. So
Yeah.
he might even be able to come back from this even after,
Don't Rag first. Oh, that Equality is just sitting in his hand, and he sees Rag, and I think he realizes at this point. I mean, he can play Stampede. Encoder won't really help him. It'll take the crawler off the board.
But the problem with that is it's still dead to kill command, and that's a real card you've got to be aware of. You haven't seen any kill command. We're gonna see him. But
what does he do with that?
Quality would have been quite good.
Yeah.
I mean, especially quality into the rag, you would have been in a very good spot. I mean, yeah, what are you doing? You're just passing. This feels. Oh, you're playing the middle. Oh. And
Mm.
so yes, you do heal up for 8, but now unleash, and he kills himself.
And he kills himself. That is a
Just
misplay if I've ever
realizes.
seen one.
I'm not sure he realized that. I'm not sure
I
he
think
realized that he was dead.
maybe that's a misplay of thinking. Well, I don't know. Rag doesn't
On
heal
top of
you as a battle cry.
game 3, and this is possible match points, and we see AahSnap on the quest rogue, um, one of the latest crazes, and we see Tjoeftjaf deciding to bring his freeze mage. So this is a sort of an interesting matchup. Basically, it's going to be the thing about this kind of game is it's basically they're each playing, as bad as it sounds, they're playing with themselves. They're not really interacting much with the opponents, and it's literally going to be games of solitaire.
Yeah.
It's going to be, who can draw their combination of cards sooner. In the case of the freeze mage, it's trying to, set up the ice block, trying to, Alexstrasza and burn him down. While for AahSnap, it's going to be trying to bounce those targets and trying to, activate his quest as soon as possible. And we see already he's got the turn 1 caverns. We see he's got the novice engineer and a shadow step, so that's pretty good. He just, you would like a little bit more activators, cards like, the Gadget Sand Ferryman and the Youthful Brewmaster.
Yeah, even those
We
are
see,
fine. I think the one of the latest revisions I've seen of the Quest Rogue doesn't mainly relies on cards like Firefly and Igneous Elemental to get those
yeah,
what is it, Fire Elementals or whatever they're called.
one of the big,
Yeah, they are so easy to get to complete that quest for you. But at this point, he might think about bouncing the novice engineer. That was I think one of the best ways to do it previously. So it just depends if he's playing that Firefly kind of quest rogue. But we'll have to see that as he draws his cards.
standard these days.
Yeah, it is quite
I'm not
standard.
sure the purpose of coining the loot hoarder. I think that, in this case, you're not going to get hit with damage. So I honestly think that it was a bit of a waste, the coin. He could have just played loot hoarder into Arcane Intellect and then see how your curve goes. I mean, you can always potentially use the coin with Archmage or to coin the Alexstrasza. Oh, yeah,
Interesting.
was the rogue deck not banned?
No, I had the bans swapped around. AahSnap banned Tjoeftjaf's Rogue, and Tjoeftjaf banned AahSnap's Warrior.
Oh, okay, yeah, because we just have
Yeah, no, I fixed that in the overlay as well. I realized I mixed those two up.
new character, yeah. But like we see that we just can see the Ignis Elemental, and like you said, that the Fireflies, the Fire Elementals provide a very easy, relatively easy way of getting the quest.
They do, but it was interesting that he used his Shadow Step on the Novice Engineer, so already burning one of those bounce cards, perhaps realizing that he doesn't have any of his Fireflies or and only the Igneous Elemental in hand. Maybe trying to get that extra draw out of the Novice Engineer instead.
Quest Rogue is you've never got you never start any game going, okay, this is the card I'm going to bounce.
That's true.
Be flexible. And, with the hand he had, going for the novice engineer is perfectly okay. And even, it's still fine because, we see one of the 4 is Quest Rogue, and we see he can still go novice engineer and bounce it.
Yes, with Youthful Brewmaster, and he'll get that guaranteed draw out of it as well.
Tjoeftjaf used the Frostball and the Elix Elemental. Once again, using that removal, I still feel a bit preemptively.
Yeah, he does have the Alexstrasza this turn. This time he does have it in hand, so he can. Whereas previously he was waiting for that card and it never came. So that will already allow him to get his opponent down to 15. But as you previously stated, with the removal of Ice Lance, you can't really deal that much damage in one turn.
But you've just got to be a little bit more sort of prudent with how you use it. So.
Cards like Medivh's Valet still provide that 3 damage, which he lost now from using the Frostbolt, and he can always discover something, some face damage or spell damage out of the Primordial Glyph. So
for this turn, Tjoeftjaf, he's kind of got 2 options. Yeah, I definitely like the Arcane Intellect. I don't think you really want to play the Ice Barrier yet because you kind of want to save it the same, like you want to have the secret up where you can Medivh Valet.
Mm-hmm.
And if you had played the ice block now, the
Yeah, that would go
ice
down.
block would have just activated it, and you would have said, oh wow, we see a mimic pot of the Firefly. So
Oh, that is brilliant for AahSnap.
2 flame elementals in hand. So this is quite. I think he might actually be very. I mean, 2 Novel Engineers have been played, but we see definitely he actually has.
He will have 4, yeah. If he will have 4 elementals to play next turn. Although he is deciding to drop the 2 flame elementals right now because his hand is filling up quite a bit. I'm not sure how many cards he had there. He was sitting on 9 cards with those 2 flame elementals in hand. So yeah, he wants to get rid of those to clear the hand and to contribute to that quest. It is always very. It makes you feel less stressed about the matchup if you're Tjoeftjaf, if by turn 5 your opponent hasn't completed the quest already. So that's one saving grace, maybe, or in his mind, looks to be he doesn't look to be in that bad state in this point in the game. Not knowing that AahSnap does have those 2 Fireflies, you will be able to finish the quest next turn. No prep in hand though, so he won't be able to actually play the quest, but he will complete the quest.
A draw of prep would be massive here.
That would be
because it would allow you, I think, complete the quest, and you'll be able to prep and deal a lot of damage. So we're gonna see probably the Ice Barrier and the Medivh Valet on the Youthful Brewmaster, just to try and get rid of some damage. And we do see the Blizzard and the Doomsail. So this might help to, if AahSnap does overextend onto the board, we might see it come down. We might just see the Firefly. Oh wait, but it's not actually. He has to play the Firefly and then the Flame Elemental.
Yes, correct. So that is going to be 4 mana. But if he did get preparation, he would have still been able to play it. And he is going to play those elementals down, and it'll be interesting to see if he actually finishes the quest. Blizzard being perfect on curve. Sorry?
I don't believe you finish it this turn because you don't really want to, because your opponent's turn 6 is coming up. They've drawn cards. You're playing in. Yeah, exactly. There we go. I mean, I actually really like this play. Sort of a heads up. He acknowledges that my opponent is probably going to Blizzard on turn 6. And okay, you Blizzard those 3, but look at, AahSnap's hand is he has, he's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He's got 3, 6, 9 cards. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 cards in hand. Yeah, so good for American cards. Blizzard feels natural, which is fine. But the thing about this is because he's got so much cheap. He's got the Stone Dust Ball, he's got the South Sea with patches. So even in hand, after the quest is completed, he's got 15 burst damage in hand.
Yeah, and no ice barrier, ice block on the side of Tjoeftjaf right now. Where AahSnap hasn't tested that yet, but I think he assumes it's a ice block. But with a quest rogue, a lot of the times you're so focused on completing your quest that you might make otherwise not that desirable plays. And it's good to see that AahSnap is keeping in mind what his opponent can possibly have, and we will see that Blizzard being dropped. So playing around that was definitely a good idea, and he can play the quest now on 5 mana.
And all of a sudden, even just presenting 2 5/5s, this is one of those things of okay, deal with it. And the trick about playing Quest Rogue also, it's not about just filling your board as wide as you can with 5/5s. It's about 3 to 4. 3 to 4 5/5s is usually just enough to put enough pressure. Your opponent has to deal with it. You save cards in hands, and then boom, you drop it again. Oh, hello, Dib. Dib just joined us on stream. It's good to see more of us players joining. Got 6 players online. And Tjoeftjaf is in a bit of a tough spot here. He's hoping to find a freeze from the Primordial Glyph. He's got 3 rather mediocre options, especially that Potion of Polymorph.
Well,
turn 5/5.
Yeah, there will still be a 5/5 sheep right there.
Exactly. Vaporize kind of, can stop one of these 5/5s. Forbidden Flame can kill one of these 5/5s. He potentially can make a play like Vaporize Doomsayer.
Yeah, I think Vaporize is definitely one of the best choice he had that out of the cards he could discover.
Doomsayer. Meteors potentially. These are not great options. He definitely wants to. yeah, I think.
Mana bind, interesting choice.
Yeah, at this point, I'm not quite sure what he's hoping.
That was maybe a play around the possible eviscerate, because what else can you have? A preparation, maybe? He was playing around a preparation.
Playing around preparation, you get a free preparation. That doesn't really
Yeah.
help at this point. Yeah, we see that actually Tjoeftjaf doesn't have the ice block down, so he only has 35 health. And if we look at the hand there for AahSnap, he's got 5, he's got 10, 15 from the patches, then he's got 20. He's actually got a really large amount of damage. 20, he's got 28. So he's
And he can still. Did you factor in the shadow step? I'm not sure.
Yeah. Because it's 5 plus the Stone Spore, 5, 10 from the South Sea and the patches, and then another 5 from the Shadow Step. So that puts you up to 20. And then the 2 Viscerates put you at 28. So you would be going down to 7.
Mm.
And I mean, yeah, I like this. Just 3 5/5s. I mean, considering maybe playing the ball, get the damage in, and then
play the ball.
I would expect him to Shadow Step at Jet to have that extra bounce in hand, and
Yeah.
I would be surprised if he just held it in hand now. He could have maybe just held it in case he drew something like Balfin. I don't think he really needed to do this, but I mean, obviously
he's guaranteeing lethal next turn. And luckily for Tjoeftjaf, he does get the ice block, so that will keep him alive for this next turn. As far as other options goes, only sitting on 8 mana, he doesn't have that much else to do. He will drop the Arcane Intellect now to see what he can fish out of.
Yeah, unfortunately, these are the cards you just not want to see right now.
Correct. It won't help him.
Want it earlier.
So
once again,
at this point, what is Tjoeftjaf looking for? What can a Frost Nova perhaps?
Frost Nova would have been, I think, a good pickup. Yeah, he basically has to play the ice block here. I don't know, like the problem is now Medivh's Valet doesn't really do much. Arcanologist doesn't. I mean, even if he goes Medivh's Valet to the face, there's no real way that he can burst 80 damage in turn. So we've seen already what we've seen. This is the first ice block, so there's always a possibility that he burns face, he draws the next ice block, and there's somehow he chain. Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, it makes sense dropping the Arcanologist, guaranteeing that he has another ice block for next turn. But generally, he's not looking to be in the best position right now.
Okay, he knows immediately this is an ice block. I mean, he'll poke one in the face just to reduce the down to 4. So that he pops the block on 4 instead of 5. You could even actually eviscerate the face here to guarantee that you pop it on 1.
You can still finish the game with your weapon in that way.
If somehow everything was frozen.
But he still has the Stonetoss Ball, which he shadow stepped. So I think he's gonna keep. He's gonna keep that in hand for a guaranteed lethal. Well, at least the damage to lethal. But he will also, he will end up.
On 1, and even Alexstrasza now doesn't save him. You're facing a board of 25, 26, and even 31. You literally, you could even Reno and still lose.
Yeah, true.
And obviously Reno's no longer in standard, but this is a really unfortunate bad spot that Tjoeftjaf is in.
And Bloodmage Stalnos won't help him either.
I mean, the thing is now you can play the ice block.
Yeah, the most desperate play would be to play Thalnos and kill it with your own Euro power to look for some more draw. Or you can ping the Akra of Pain, yeah.
And the problem is, even if you do find, or just the hero power activates the secret this turn, and you have no burning hand. You currently don't know. You have no. You have no way of. I mean, how do you win this? You've got absolutely no damage in hand.
He needs.
Alexstrasza.
He only has 1 turn left with this ice block. Maybe, and he's played both glyphs as well. So there's no. Okay, he does end up playing the Bloodmage Stalnos. Just that 1 extra mana that the Acolyte of Pain would have cost him. Yeah, he just needs too many turns to kill his opponent and also to draw the burn in order to do that. He has the Alexstrasza, which will take his opponent down to 15. And then a Pyro, he just doesn't have enough. It's too little too late at this point as well.
once again, it comes down to the planning on going, how do I win? And, you know, at what point do I throw a bird to the face? At what point should I be clearing minions? So, in this case, they didn't draw too many minions. I mean, possibly, I think he could have saved that, like, you know, the Blizzard. I mean, now, the only way he would actually, you know, he wouldn't even actually now, because the Tjoeftjaf board just presents lethal. So I was going to say, if he somehow blizzarded the board and frostbolts to the face, he might. But we still know that, and he should still remember that there's still Tjoeftjaf's ball in hand.
Yeah, because he saw that obviously getting bounced to the hand. So I don't think there's any play he can make at this point to save him.
So this afternoon is going to wrap up quite a short series. It's going to be a 3. Will be a 3-0. You will play the mana bind, and maybe I don't know. Maybe for 1 mana, it's glyph, but you just pop the ice block again.
He's good, yeah, and even if he baits out that ice block, AahSnap will test it. So there's no way to play it and cause your opponent not to deal with it.
The only thing scenario is if that mana bind was an ice block, you would have been able to go Alexstrasza your opponent's face, play that 1 mana ice block.
True. That's what makes the ice block pulled out of a glyph so damn powerful, especially in a freeze mage where Alexstrasza can be played in conjunction with a frost. Yeah, but unfortunately that isn't the case for him this turn.
If it was an ice block, he would have been able to Alexstrasza himself and actually possibly come back.
Yeah.
So obviously now we just see he clears it up, and that's going to be 3-0 to AahSnap.